Over 7 decades passed before any human eyes, finally, saw the lost metal body of this massive fallen ocean ship. The creators promised the world that their beautiful new creation would remain completely safe above the dark, cold ocean water. People believed this giant moving metal palace had enough power to easily defeat any hidden natural danger in the water. Rich families and poor workers stepped onto the decks with high hopes for a bright future in a new land. Nobody knew that the deep Black Sea was waiting quietly to swallow their dreams and their lives without any mercy. Music played loudly across the upper rooms, while eager passengers drank rich wine and laughed under the bright electric lights. The huge engines burned tons of black coal daily to push the heavy vessel forward into the freezing unknown waters. Captain Smith stood proudly at the wooden steering wheel, without sensing the quiet shadow that slowly approached in the night. Nature prepared a cruel trap made of ancient hard ice that would easily tear apart the strong steel bottom plates. Will the confident modern world ever understand what brutal ancient force waits patiently just beneath these completely calm surface waves? Building company used 3 million metal nails to connect the massive heavy steel plates of this majestic ocean vessel. Wealthy businessmen wanted to create the largest floating hotel ever seen in human history to impress the entire modern world. Thousands of poor, dirty workers hit heavy steel tools daily to shape the giant, strong ribs of the proud ship. The designers completely ignored safety limits because they only cared about visual beauty and fast travel across the vast ocean. Grand wooden stairs and expensive warm carpets covered the inner decks to please the wealthy lords and royal family members. The men who built this mechanical giant felt extreme pride and believed their perfect creation would last for many centuries. Newspapers quickly printed exciting stories about the luxury rooms and grand dining halls located inside the massive heavy steel body. Everyone trusted the complex engineering completely, and nobody ever asked if the mighty metal ship could actually sink during travel. The shiny black paint and bright golden letters made the proud vessel look like a powerful royal palace moving slowly. Why did the brilliant engineers blind themselves to the hidden, deadly flaws lurking inside their most magnificent and proud creation? Ship contained 16 separate water holding rooms that the arrogant builders thought would prevent any serious flood from spreading. Powerful machines could automatically close the heavy steel doors to lock the rising cold ocean water inside the lower levels. This new security system convinced the entire modern world that the vessel was completely safe from any harsh ocean disaster. The owners confidently removed several important emergency escape boats just to give wealthy guests more empty space for afternoon walking. They believed the mighty ship would act as its own rescue boat during any unlikely problem upon the deep sea. Wireless radio equipment allowed the busy crew members to send quick messages across the vast dark water to distant lands. Most messages carried simple, happy greetings from rich people, rather than serious safety warnings about cold, solid ice ahead nearby. Blind trust in modern machines made the professional sailors lazy and less careful while watching the dark, empty horizon ahead. Overconfidence acts like a silent disease that slowly ruins the human mind before a sudden, terrible tragedy finally strikes hard. Could this supreme arrogance be the exact reason why the freezing dark waves are preparing to claim so many lives? The richest man on the ship had enough money to buy the entire floating metal palace twice without feeling poor. First-class guests enjoyed warm baths and fresh fancy meals, inside rooms decorated with pure gold and fine shiny wood. Deep below the wealthy upper levels lived hundreds of hopeful poor families, sharing small crowded spaces in the noisy dark. Third-class passengers danced to simple joyful violin music, while drinking cheap beer and sharing wild dreams about American lands. Strong locked steel gates separated the rich individuals above from the poor common workers sleeping below the harsh water line. Beautiful young ladies wore extremely expensive silk dresses and shiny diamond rings during the quiet, relaxing afternoon tea party sessions. Mothers holding small, innocent bobbies dreamed of better, healthy lives waiting beyond the freezing, misty horizon of the cold ocean. Social status ruled every single moment of daily ship life from morning breakfast until the quiet, dark hours of midnight. Money could buy absolute comfort and supreme respect, but it could never buy actual true safety against raw natural power. When the freezing bitter water finally fills the grand empty halls, will wealth matter against the cruel equalizing ocean depth? Massive heavy iron anchors pulled up slowly from the calm harbor water under the bright, clear, warm morning sun. Thousands of cheering, joyful people stood on the wooden docks, waving their soft white hands at the departing giant vessel. Thick black smoke poured out from the huge, tall, yellow pipes as the engines pushed the ship into open waters. Small, weak fishing boats bounced wildly in the strong, dangerous waves created by the massive, heavy steel propellers spinning violently. Passengers walked happily along the clean, dry wooden decks, enjoying the fresh, cool sea breeze touching their warm, smiling faces. Waiters dressed in clean, sharp white suits served sweet, cold drinks to relaxed travelers resting on comfortable, long wooden chairs. Everything felt absolutely perfect, and nobody on board suspected any serious danger hiding ahead in the vast, empty, open ocean. Night arrived slowly, bringing bright, shining stars that reflected beautifully upon the completely flat, smooth surface of the dark sea. The gentle, quiet hum of the powerful hidden engines provided a deeply comforting fake sense of total safety and security. How could such peaceful, calm beauty easily disguise the most brutal and terrifying destructive natural force ever known to mankind? Completely clear radio messages warning about massive, hard floating ice fields arrived directly at the busy ship communication room. Tired radio operators ignored the most vital safety alerts because they were extremely busy sending personal greetings for rich passengers. The final urgent warning from a nearby stopped vessel never even reached the strict old captain on the upper bridge. The temperature of the dark ocean air dropped very fast, creating a harsh, freezing chill across the empty open decks. Two cold, lonely watchmen standing high above the main deck lacked simple-looking glasses to observe the dangerous path ahead. A perfectly still ocean without any crashing waves made spotting the deadly hidden white ice mountains almost impossible that night. The giant fast vessel moved blindly through the heavy freezing darkness, surrounded by unseen silent killers waiting in the water. Crucial alert papers remained buried under piles of common useless messages, while the doom approached closer with every passing second. Human mistakes and simple technical failures combined perfectly to build a solid invisible bridge, leading directly toward ultimate absolute destruction. Will history ever forgive the careless, proud officers who ignored clear warning signs that sealed their extremely tragic final fate? Proud shipping company, owner ordered the tired captain to burn more coal and increase the vessel's speed significantly tonight. They desperately wanted to reach the busy city port early to impress the waiting newspaper reporters with an amazing record. Despite receiving clear warnings about terrible heavy ice, the massive metal beast continued racing forward at maximum dangerous engine power. 24 giant steam boilers roared with intense red fire, producing incredible extreme energy that pushed the sharp bow forward. The cold, heavy water split violently apart as the huge dark iron structure sliced through the silent, freezing open ocean. Experienced senior officers trusted their massive ship completely and refused to slow down during the extremely dark, quiet night journey. Hubris clouded the smart minds of men who incorrectly believed human engineering had finally conquered the mighty ancient deep sea. Below the bright luxury dining rooms, the tired poor workers shoved endless dirty black coal into the roaring hot furnaces. The fatal tragic choice to favor pure speed over basic human safety doomed the magnificent proud vessel and its people. What dark, terrifying mystery waits quietly ahead in the completely pitch-black water to punish this foolish, aggressive human pride? Cold, sharp bell rang 3 loud, distinct times, breaking the awful, lonely silence of the completely dark, freezing night. A giant, pale mountain of hard, ancient ice appeared suddenly from the dark mist right directly ahead of the vessel. Panicked, tired officers spun the wooden steering wheel violently, but the heavy steel giant moved far too slowly, turning away. A terrible, harsh, scraping noise echoed deep below the warm sleeping rooms as raw solid ice hit the metal side. The massive hidden underwater ice block popped solid steel nails easily and sliced open the thin, fragile outer metal skin. Sleepy, rich passengers barely felt a soft, strange vibration while playing late-night card games in the bright, smoking lounge. Down below, near the hot, loud engines, cold, bitter water exploded violently through the damaged, ripped steel wall plates instantly. Terrified poor workers ran for their lives as the dark, heavy ocean violently claimed the lowest dark levels very quickly. The arrogant, beautiful dream of an immortal floating city died instantly during those 10 brief, horrific seconds of metal screaming. Now that the invincible steel skin is broken, how long will this mighty broken beast survive against the hungry sea? The main ship designer looked at the damaged floor plans and realized mathematically that the grand vessel would absolutely sink. 6 separate lower rooms flooded with rapid freezing water, causing the massive heavy front bow to drop deeply downward fast. Confused, wealthy guests refused to leave their warm beds, believing the loud warning alarms were just a silly, useless drill. The frightened captain quietly ordered the brave crew to prepare the few wooden lifeboats without causing any loud public panic. Brave musicians brought their simple string instruments onto the freezing open deck and started playing soft, peaceful music very calmly. Bright, exploding distress rockets shot high up into the pitch-dark, lonely sky, asking any nearby ships for urgent help. A mystery vessel resting just a few dark miles away ignored the bright emergency lights and remained completely quietly still. Freezing green ocean water began pouring slowly over the beautiful, expensive carpets inside the fancy, luxurious, empty dining room spaces. Reality struck the terrified passengers hard when the massive metal deck began tilting downward toward the cold, black, waiting sea. As the cruel, freezing water rises higher, will anyone maintain their false civilized manners during this approaching absolute chaotic horror? Only enough small rescue boats existed to save a tiny fraction of the desperate, terrified people trapped on the ship. Strict, ruthless officers shouted loud, angry orders demanding that Only helpless crying women and small innocent children enter the boats. Many early wooden lifeboats lowered down into the dark, scary ocean were half empty because people feared the massive height. Below the tilting upper decks, poor families found heavy locked metal gates blocking their only desperate path toward possible safety. Brave men kissed their crying, loving wives goodbye, forever knowing perfectly well that they would easily die within an hour. Wild panic replaced polite manners as desperate, terrified men fought violently against strict armed guards to reach the last boats. The steep angle of the massive sinking deck made regular walking completely impossible for the falling, freezing, tired, screaming victims. Deep inside the breaking ship, brave, loyal engineers stayed behind, keeping bright lights burning until the very final dark moment. The cold, awful reality of sudden, unfair death stripped away all fake illusions of human wealth, power, and high status. What unspeakable, nightmarish sound will the breaking metal monster make when it finally splits violently into two separate dying halves? The giant rear end of the falling metal vessel lifted entirely out of the freezing dark water toward the stars. Three massive, heavy bronze spinning propellers hung completely useless high up in the very cold, clear, empty night air above. Suddenly, the bright, warm electrical lights flickered wildly briefly before completely dying and leaving everyone in total, terrifying, absolute darkness. An incredibly loud, harsh, tearing sound echoed across the calm ocean as the huge, heavy steel body finally broke violently. The heavy, broken front section sank quickly, pulling the rear half down into the endless, deep, black underwater grave below. Thousands of terrified, hopeless victims fell directly into the brutally freezing water, wearing thin, useless, heavy, wet life-saving jackets. A massive, terrible wave of freezing ocean rapidly swallowed the last remaining metal pieces of the proud, dead dream machine. An awful, haunting chorus of thousands screaming for desperate help slowly faded into complete, eerie, horrible silence across the water. The calm, dark sea looked entirely peaceful again, perfectly hiding the incredible mass graveyard located miles down in the deep. Will the shocking truth behind this massive human tragedy ever rise from the incredibly deep, dark, lonely ocean floor again? Only a small rescue ship named Carpathia arrived hours later to pull shivering, sad survivors from the deadly, freezing waves. The devastated mourning world woke up to newspaper headlines announcing the completely impossible destruction of the mighty floating metal beast. Angry, loud public hearings started immediately across two vast continents, seeking obvious guilty targets for this extremely preventable dark tragedy. Investigators quickly realized that arrogant corporate greed and blind human pride murdered those cold, poor, forgotten souls in the deep. The destroyed, sunken vessel forced governments to quickly rewrite all international marine safety laws regarding adequate wooden lifeboat seat numbers. The broken metal corpse remained completely hidden down below in absolute lonely darkness, surrounded by strange, blind underwater sea creatures. Eventually, smart underwater robots discovered the sad, silent ruin quietly resting deep upon the vast, empty, sandy bottom plane alone. Decaying shoes and old fancy plates scattered across the dark, deep ocean floor beautifully honor the tragic, forgotten, fallen ghosts. The famous fallen ship serves eternally as a dark, haunting reminder that nature always aggressively defeats foolish human technical arrogance. Will humanity ever truly learn from this massive failure, or is the next disaster already waiting, this time not as a mistake, but as a decision?